Since I started making banana fish, people have always been telling me, oh, you should make this banana fish, or why don't you make this, or you should do this. And the truth is that I would love to, but this entire time I've also been an immigrant, and I have to work to maintain my visa to stay in Taiwan. So I've been teaching second grade this entire time. But as the story of the banana fish goes, I think the children actually play a really important part. Some of the first banana fish I ever made were actually for the children. I would draw banana fish with permanent marker on label paper, cut them out, and give them to the kids at school. So it makes sense that the banana fish picked up some of their energy from the little kids as well. In fact, 90% of the banana fish are probably pre-approved by the children before anybody else sees them. I think the point of being a teacher is mostly to introduce children to things that their parents would never be able to introduce them to. I would tease them about the places in the world they've never heard of, and I would train them on the little catchphrases and funny things that I would say until some of them really started sounding like little versions of me. On the journey of the banana fish, I always invited them to my exhibitions, and I shared with them the projects that I was working on and the things that I was doing, because I think it could also inspire them. Many of the children were also the banana fish's biggest fans. I think the children play an important part in the story of the banana fish because it was the children who helped me realize the real meaning of the banana fish. It had been pouring rain for a whole month in May 2022, and I was teaching online except for one student who would come to school to learn in the classroom. It was totally pointless. It felt like everyone was just pretending like this had any value, and it was truly meaningless. So I said to Jonathan, the one kid who would come to school, I said, Jonathan, this totally sucks. And he said, yeah, this totally sucks. And I said, do you want to see these banana fish that I've been drawing? And I invited him to come and look at the drawings on my desk. And when he came, he looked at the drawings and he pointed to one of a banana fish riding a bicycle and drinking 2 coffees. And he said, that's not a banana fish, that's you. And I think Jonathan was right. And I think the situation just made me realize it more clearly than when I had heard the same thing in the past. This was my escape from how pointless and meaningless everything was. So I could create my own meaning from the banana fish. So that afternoon, Jonathan and I muted the online class, and we danced to Caribbean music in the empty classroom as the rain thundered outside. And it was at that point that I realized that Jonathan and I were not alone. The story of the banana fish was actually my own. But it isn't just this one kid who is a part of the story of the banana fish. It really is all of them. And I would be remiss if I did not thank the children for their creativity and enthusiasm, but also for their silliness, perhaps most of all. If I'm never a father in my life, then I'm glad I had these few years to see what it's like. As the story of the banana fish goes, the children have played a pretty important part. I'm interested to see what the banana fish will be like when they're not around the children.